Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Unpopular Opinions on the Phoenix Club. I'm Tom, this is Josh, and we have more Twitter dross to get through today than ever before. And we start with, and it's been a debate that's been going around Twitter all week, and it's spilled over from the Chelsea sphere, as Josh will know. And our first opinion is of Rory Jennings of CFC Fan TV, who gave me a nice shout out on his channel and blocked me from his account, and seems to think that people who don't go to games are less of a fan than people who go to games, and that people who believe in Sarri ball as a conception don't go to games.
Well, I think there's kind of two parts to this question, really. First of all, it seems to me like he's saying subliminally, if you aren't from the place that your team is based, then you're not a proper fan. Obviously I'm not from Manchester, but it doesn't. I've probably been to more games than a lot of other people have. I think it's a case of whether you're able to, as opposed to actually whether
Money?
Yeah, as opposed to whether you're a proper fan or not, because you could watch it on the television. I don't see how that makes you any less of a fan than actually physically being at the stadium. Equally, you're not able to. We're at university at the moment. It's not exactly easy for me to get to Old Trafford from St Andrews, for you to get to Stamford Bridge from St Andrews.
And we're abroad at the moment.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That makes it even more difficult.
And also,
I think he's just really saying this just to generate views and to just get more publicity for his channel. I think it's a bit of a cynical point of view, and I don't honestly believe that he believes it, although there are people that do believe it. But Chelsea have got such an international fan base now. It's not exactly possible for all those fans in Asia and Africa, etc., to make the trip over. Likewise, United, I believe they've got the biggest fan base in the world. They've got fan bases in many different countries around the world, and so I just think for many reasons it doesn't really make sense. And on the point of what's the second part of that question?
That people who believe in Sarri ball somehow don't go to games, and the fact that they've watched Maurizio Sarri's Napoli team means they have no life.
Well, what he's basically saying is that people that don't go to games aren't proper fans again, because what he's essentially saying is people that talk about Sarri ball aren't watching what's going on. And so, again, he's just using it to try and back up his point, which is really becoming more and more invalidated.
And I think finally on this, because I did want to address it because of my shout out, he's using the fact that he has the money to go on tours and to go to games and to have a season ticket bought for by his, paid for, that makes him by default better than other fan channels that provide better analysis than him. So it's just important that you guys as viewers are aware of that.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
So, sorry guys, I had to address it, but now on to something a bit lighter, and it's from my good friend Matisse Armani, a fellow Chelsea fan who suffers along with me, and he seems to think that Chelsea Football Club are still better than Man City, and that the 6-0 defeat was a trap for the League Cup final.
Do you want my answer in one word?
No.
It's not true. Chelsea are absolutely nowhere near Man City this season. It's as simple as that. They were even further from them last season. Chelsea are nowhere near pushing for the Premier League this season. I'd be amazed if they won the League Cup. And because I know that the second part of his tweet was saying that, I don't know if he's being serious or not, that they were just trying to trick City. Chelsea were just trying to trick City, thinking that they weren't a good side, so that Chelsea would win the League Cup. I highly doubt that.
Regardless, though, I want to give a shout out to Matisse Armani. I think his content's brilliant, and go and give him a follow. I know he was having a laugh at that one, but regardless, it brightened up my day when we lost 6-0. So thanks anyway. And next we're on to Carefree Charlie, and this is an interesting one. And he thinks that Everton have a good chance of getting relegated this season, looking at the fixtures they have to come and the fact that they're not on good form and the injuries they have in their squad.
Well, simply put, I don't think that they're as bad as some of the teams below them. Huddersfield are goners, let's face it. I think that Southampton are probably going to head down as well.
You think?
I think they will. Yeah. I
Okay.
I don't think I think Newcastle will survive. I think Cardiff is certainly at risk. I think Brighton are probably just going to about survive.
Palace?
Um, Palace I don't think are going to be anywhere
They're
near
only 3 points
relegation.
clear of the drop zone, though.
Yeah, but I think you know as we get closer and closer, I think that Palace will end up being very much safe.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's a case of Everton may not be Premier League standard, but I think the teams below them are even less so.
Okay. Yeah, I would say on this one that Everton, I thought last season they were shocking. When Allardyce came in, they had that spell under David Unsworth that was just terrible. And the fact that they were able to come eighth, the way they played last season, showed how poor the bottom end of the Prem was. And I think they will survive this season. I think they'll probably come ninth or 10th or 8th, something like that. But I think they have to consider whether, with the investment they're putting in, they're getting the return on that investment that they should be expecting. And I think they should ask themselves why, to be honest with you.
Again, we have to look at whether Marco Silva's going to be there come next season.
I think he has to go, to be honest.
I don't necessarily think he has to go, but I think that he will go just because that just seems to be the Everton way at the moment, and they seem to be after the shorter term fix, almost like a microcosmic version of Chelsea in that respect.
So that they don't win anything.
Well, yeah, exactly. Nor are Chelsea at the moment.
We could win the League Cup in a couple.
I don't think you will. Anyway, let's move on.
On to our final opinion, and I think it's one that definitely is going to get some debate going from GT off Twitter, that Son Heung-min is better than Eden Hazard. I'll let you start with this one, Josh.
All right. So, I think he has the potential to reach that level, but I personally don't think we could call Heung-min Son world class, but I do think we could call Eden Hazard world class. I think that's the difference. I think Hazard has proven himself at the highest level with a top team. You know, he's won what, 2 Premier League titles now?
He's won
14, 15 and 17 and a 16, 17.
And a Europa League.
Yes, absolutely. Even with Belgium, he's got to 3rd place at the World Cup. So I think on many respects he's been able to prove himself at a high level. I think in order for us to talk about Heung-min Son in that same regard, I think one of 2 things have to happen. 1, he moves to a better team, or 2, Tottenham start winning things. Probably the former is more likely to happen than the latter. But, you know, he was at Bayer Leverkusen before he was at Spurs, and they weren't exactly German heavyweights either. He was at another German club. Was it Schalke? Or some other German club, or Hamburg, or something before.
Mainz or Schalke?
I don't really keep up with the German league too much, but I know he was at another German club before. So I think in order for him to hit those heights, I do honestly think that he has to start actually genuinely competing for teams in a team that matches those ambitions, and I don't think that Tottenham is one of those clubs.
I think it shows a lot about how good he is that he's been carrying Tottenham since Harry Kane got injured and has been scoring all his goals. I mean, he was blistering last night against Borussia Dortmund. And I think, actually, in fairness to Son, he's more consistent than Hazard is in terms of goals, in terms of assists. Hazard can have a good few blinders, but as a Chelsea fan, I'd like to see Hazard be world-class more regularly.
But it's a balance of, is when Hazard is at the top of his game, he is world class. Whereas Son is, I'm not going to call him average, but Son is consistently not as good as Hazard at his best.
Yeah.
So it's where do you go with that? Do you pick Son because he's consistently, let's just say for argument's sake, 8 out of 10, or do you say Hazard because for 1 month he might be 10 out of 10, and then for the second month he might go down to 7 or 6, then back up to 9. So where do you draw the line?
I think that's the crux of the debate. I really want to get you guys' opinions in the comments for this one, because Hazard, for me, I really love the guy. I think he's incredible. He's a great professional, but his lack of consistency does at times frustrate me. So I'd love to know whether you think the fact he's won titles puts him above Son, or the fact that he's able to claim his PFA Player of the Year in 2015 maybe puts him above Son. But I mean, for you, Josh, how much of that is down to honours and how much just simply down to performances on the field?
Well, I was just thinking actually, as you were just saying that it's almost, but not quite to the same level, reminiscent of the Lampard v Gerrard v Scholes debate. And the reason often why people will put Gerrard below, I guess myself included, is because of his lack of honours. Um, and the thing is, I think that's almost in a roundabout way unfair on the other two, because it's not, you can't criticize them because they were part of a good team. Because
Mm.
we don't know how Gerrard would have fared if he'd gone to Chelsea, for example.
No, exactly. Yeah.
We don't know at this moment in time how Son would fare if he went to a bigger club, whether he would actually win trophies. But we do know that Lampard and Scholes, as key components of top teams, won so many major honours. Likewise with Eden Hazard, as part of a top team, he has won 2 Premier League titles and, as you mentioned, other honours as well. So I think it's almost with Son and to an extent with Gerrard, part of a hypothetical question. What would they have done if they'd been part of a better team? And so it's really difficult to say. And again, it's not to say that Son isn't a great player, because he is. But I think if we're looking for reasons why Hazard might be considered better than Son, I think we have to. I think you kind of have to start looking at what they've won. And it's not like Hazard has just been a bench warmer. He's been a key part of those title-winning teams.
So guys, I've really enjoyed that debate, Josh, but I think that's about time for this video. I had a really interesting one with all those 4 opinions. Thank you to Matisse Armani, Carefree Charlie and GT for your opinions. And make sure you comment on my post next week for Unpopular Opinions, which will be on Twitter. I'm Tom, this has been Josh. Thank you guys for watching.